Okay, good morning. I'd like to open the health services meeting at this point on August the 23rd. Before we start, I'd like to introduce our committee member. Welcome on.
All right.
This morning, and Rob, this is our new supervisor who's on board, so I just want to make sure that he's here today. Thank you. The first thing we need is the approval of the minutes of last month's meeting. Someone like to bring that. Second by Supervisor Devitt. Any additions or corrections to the minutes? Okay, not move on. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you. This would be the time for the privilege of the floor and public comment. If anyone has any comments they're going to make at this time. All right, it's going to be very short this morning. Rob is the only one we have on board. No public health, no office of the aging, but we'll see they're busy. They're working on their budgets, but they didn't have anything to bring to the committee. So, Rob, it's all yours. Good morning.
All right, good morning, everyone. I was fortunate to have a chance to meet supervisory to in the hallway chat for a few minutes. So that was fortunate this morning, and I did offer it to anybody anytime the opportunity to meet and get an overview of our office and community services board.
Like a good office. Thank you.
Well, it's a little complicated, right? So I just really have one quick item of business this morning, and it's a request to amend the 2023 Warren County budget in the amount of $147,000. This is to move that some of the opioid settlement funds and deferred revenue lines in the county into our departmental contract line. This is to fund existing 2023 contracts.
Somebody make that motion. Supervisor Smith, seconded by Supervisor Bruno. Any questions regarding this? Bruno?
So I think it's a good idea. So if you didn't have these funds, what would we do with these existing contracts?
Well, this was sort of the plan all along, I guess, was to fund when we initially. These three proposals that were funded through the opioid settlement fund were usually ARPA proposals that came through. But because we had a limited pool of ARPA funds and these fit the criteria for opioid settlement, we shifted them over to opioid settlement. And then the opioid settlement funds are broken out into a couple different categories of restricted and unrestricted. And there wasn't enough funding to fully fund the contracts on hand at the time. And that money has sort of trickled in over time.
So this is just part of the plan.
Yeah, it's part of the plan. The funding is there now. We need to move it into the right lines to be able to expend it out.
Very good. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Just I know in past years, going back a couple of years there, when we were initially involved in the opioid type scenario, the question came up at that point, what are we going to do with those funds? And there was actually some folks in the room that wanted to just use it for other type things, not related to mental health, not related to, not relating to the going after the crux of the problem. And if one could come up with any rationale as to why someone was taking opioids, it's very confusing and tough to understand. But I think it's important that the funds go back to the programs that help alleviate or eliminate the problems of opioid or mental health or those kind of things.
I mean, the big picture plan is that because there's different buckets of this or different pots of opioid settlement funds, some county direct funds, but then there's also funds that my office receives, just sort of like we receive regular state aid from the New York State Office of Addiction Services and Support. But the overall plan is to also put together a work group of the county departments that might have had expenses or impacts related to opioid, such as the sheriff's office, emergency services, DSS, health department, and take a look at county departments. Did we have needs internally, and could some of the funds be directed there? So we're planning that as well as this sort of like getting money out into the community to providers and coverage.
Thanks, Rob. Yeah.
Any other questions? All right, now let's vote on that then. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, carried. Thank you. Rob, you have anything else for us? Well, any committee members have any questions for Rob? Then I'll entertain one to do here. Second by Mrs. Smith. All those in favor? Opposed? Thank you kindly. That was a very